Starlink has made some big changes to its waitlist, and we have some more 10-mile-per-hour speed enforcement updates. Come and join us to find out more. Hi, I'm Dan from the Mobile Internet Resource Center. Ever since Starlink launched over 2 years ago, there have been certain areas in the U.S. where people have been waiting to get new residential service. Starlink came out with a Starlink Availability Map a year or so ago that shows where these waitlisted areas were, mostly on the eastern half of the U.S. and the Midwest where areas are more populated. Well, in surprise update, the Starlink Availability Map has been updated to show that there is no longer any waitlisted areas in the U.S. You can now order Starlink residential service anywhere. This update is great news for anyone who has still been waiting for Starlink residential service, especially those who have been on the waitlist over 2 years. They should be getting notifications soon that they can now order Starlink residential service. Those users who may have purchased Starlink Roam service, which just works anywhere but at a deprioritized level, should now be able to go into their service plan and change to Starlink Residential if they choose to have a fixed location service at their house to have a little higher priority than mobile users. The other great news with this change is this actually starts to make Starlink Standard service a little more appealing to nomads even if you move around. Starlink Standard service is $120 in most of the US, $90 in some high capacity areas, but that means it's at least $30 or more less than Starlink Roam service. And Starlink Standard service has a higher priority than those on the mobile service. So, even if you are a full-time nomad moving around and you don't mind updating your service address as you move, you could change to Starlink Standard service and have a higher priority for a cheaper price. Now, if you would prefer not to have to move your service address and you don't mind being deprioritized, you can of course stay on Starlink Roam service, and it works anywhere in the US and anywhere on the continent, including Canada and Mexico. The 10-mile-per-hour speed limitation has been in Starlink's TOS for a little while now, but has yet to be enforced. This limitation is going to affect any users that are not on the Starlink Mobile Priority Plan. So, users that are on a Starlink Mobile Regional or Mobile Global plan will have in-motion use up to 10 miles per hour. This is great for boaters swinging at anchor and slow cruiser boats on the water, but any RVers or faster boats are going to be limited once they pass that 10 mile per hour threshold. Starlink has stated that in order to have high-speed in-motion data, you will need to subscribe to their mobile priority plan. Now, this can include being on the $250 50 gigabyte mobile priority plan all the time, or opting into the mobile priority for $2 at $2 a gigabyte while on one of the standard mobile plans. Now, one change we learned about from Winegard with this new policy when it goes into effect is that users on the mobile priority plan who exhaust their mobile priority data, say after the 50 gigabytes, and are traveling down the road at a speed over 10 miles per hour, you will lose your in-motion at that point in time. You will not be able to continue to have in-motion unless you opt into more mobile priority data at $2 a gigabyte. This clarification on the limitation of the mobile priority plan and losing in-motion after the priority data is exhausted means that this is not nearly as attractive to streaming and other high data uses while in motion. Now, of course, if you are only doing low data activities like searching on a map, email, or other activities that don't pull a lot of data, then that 50 gigabytes or even paying per gigabyte at $2 a gigabyte can last you a long time and not get that expensive. But unfortunately for streaming, this is going to put a big damper in families' plans to keep the kids entertained while they go down the road and actively streaming content. If you've been waiting on Starlink Residential, then the fact there is no longer a waitlist is great news for you, and hopefully you can get your Starlink soon. As for the 10 mile per hour speed enforcement, we obviously still don't know when they're going to start enforcing that, but we fully expect Starlink to make this enforcement, and all the points we just went over are going to be factors in your decision on what plan or choices you make.
These videos are brought to you by our premium members, our mobile internet aficionados. They make it possible for us to track this news and create these videos. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel, or better yet, consider becoming a member yourself.